Coming off hot on the presses, we have 1 minute ago. Bard reveal. Let me just full screen some stuff. That's cute, because the cards yesterday were interesting. So this is another Runeterra champion, Origin, the Wandering Caretaker, whatever that means. I really wish there's sound on these. Alright, so the Wandering Caretaker, you may put any cards that plant chimes into your deck during deck building, sure. Round start, plant a chime in your deck for each bard that started. Oh, interesting. So those of you who are unfamiliar with what chimes are, it's it's like a trap that you can put, but you put it into your deck, and every time you draw a chime, you give a unit in your hand +1/+1. So it's basically a hand buff. But you have to draw into the chime that's put on top of a card, and then you have to have a unit in hand. But if you have 3 bards in your starting deck, each round you plant 3 chimes into your deck. Now, there's no like top 8 cards like Caitlyn Traps, so these chimes are completely random. So like you have, say you have a 35 card deck, and then you plant 3 chimes in every round. Still underwhelming. We'd see what Bard does. Bard 4 mana 3/6. Oh my god, that's a chonker. Attack, plant 6 chimes on random cards in your deck. When you activate a chime, grant +1/+1 to a random ally in play. Interesting. So definitely like this sort of like trying to snowball thing. Like you want to be attacked with Bard, because he's a 3/6, he can block very well, he can still attack very well. This is like, you guys remember Lecturing Yord, which is a 3/5 for 4? I mean, this is like even more premium stats. So the ability for Bard to attack once, twice, get a block down is pretty good. And I believe this means it can buff itself too. So if Bard's like your only unit on board, every time you draw a chime, you can also buff Bard. Just interesting. This chime archetype though, still very questionable. Draw a follower, then activate the effects of all boons and top 3 cards of your deck. Create a bard hack. Okay. But yeah, I think every chime card we've seen so far is just put into your deck at random, except for like one specific card that puts onto the very top card of your deck. So right now the chimes seem very underwhelming. 6 mana 4/6 when I'm summoned, plant a chime on the top card, then double the boons in your deck. Oh. Huh. So this is like Teemo, right? Where Teemo doesn't double the shrooms wherever there is a shroom. So it doubles the boons and then it gets randomly distributed through the deck. Like, this is the payout, but no keywords. Bar doesn't have any keyword. The chime cards don't have any keywords. Cosmic Binding, 5 mana, fast, deal 2, stun. Deal 2 to an enemy, stun another, plant 3. Interesting. So this is a Battle City card? Oh man. Deal 2 to an enemy and then stun another. So this is Mystic Shot plus Wallop on a fast speed 5 mana card, which is basically the 4 cost value of this card, and then you get plant 3 chimes in your deck. It's Battle City though, and what's sort of interesting about spells that, so we have Runeterra champions, and then the region that they don't have any spells in this Runeterra champ region. There's no Runeterra champ spells. So when you have a spell like this in Battle City, you're forced, if you want to be running this card in a Bard deck, you're forced to be playing Battle City as your only region with Bard. And that's always a little bit awkward when they're trying to push things like this, unless they have like other spells in other regions that do what this does, which is the plant chimes as a spell, right? Which I think is a slightly awkward design of Runeterra Champions as a whole, because it really limits how you can build spells. Oh no, but you can put this in any region, right? Because it's a chime. So Bard you can put... Oh, never mind. Sorry. I disregard. But for cards like Jin, it does apply to Jin where Jin's deck building doesn't allow it to include more than one region of spells. But with Bard, you can at least put this card into any Bard deck. My bad. No gameplay. Interesting. And I think we'll just cover yesterday's Chime cards as well if we can find them. I don't think there are too many, but so here's what Chime does. It's a boon. It's like a flash bomb or puff cap they can add into your deck, and once you draw into it, you get a +1/+1 onto a unit in your hand. And then when if you had Bard on board, you also give a random ally on board a +1/+1. So Beard the Bell Ringer, a 1-mana 2/1. When I'm summoned, plant a Chime on the top card of your deck. It's just not very impressive. I forgot what Bard's level up was. Did they even show a Bard level 2? Hang on. Like, did they show Bard level 2? I don't even, like, recall. Am I just silly? So Bard levels up when you've increased the total stats of allies and player in hand by 20? Holy moly. Oh, but total stats. So it is attack and defense. So every time you draw a Chime, you increase the total stats of allies by 2. If you have Bard on play, it's 4. So what's Bard's level up do? Do they even show it? Did they not show Bard's level 2? Oh, this is Bard's level 2. Oh. Okay, sorry, I totally missed that. Bard level 1 is a 4-mana 2/5 attack, plant 3 Chimes. Oh, wow, this is even slower. So you have to draw 10 Chimes for Bard base to even level up, which I think is absurdly difficult, which means you have to be playing buff spells with Bard. So, like, when you're running spells, that's going to limit what sort of region you can play with Bard already. Unless you're running units that do buff Bard, but then for the same thing, like, if it's not Chime specific, you're locking yourself into another region. And that means you're reliant on that region's spells and units to level up your Bard. So again, Bard is a 4-mana 2/5 level up. You've increased the total stats of allies in play or hand by +20. Stats being attack and defense, which is cool, or attack and health. His attack is only plant 3 Chimes into random cards in your deck. Now being a 4-mana 2/5, that makes his attack just so much more awkward because this 2 attack stat line is so tough. I don't rate this card very highly right now. The Chime cards we've seen are terrible. Chime itself seems like a bad mechanic. And his level up is absurdly difficult all by himself. Like any Chime card, it's so absurdly difficult. You're forced to go into a second region just to level up Bard. And there's no champion that... What champion, like, increases their total stats? Like, you could play this with Gnar, and then Gnar levels up and gains 2 attack and 2 health. So a Gnar level, every time Gnar levels up, you progress your Bard by 4. I guess any champ level up technically gains a +1/+1. Let's just go over the other Chime cards, because right now this is looking very, very underwhelming. We cover what Chime does, and then we cover the 1-drop here. So, Targan. So you can put this in your deck because it does plant Chimes. Elusive, when I'm summoned, plant a Chime on top card of your deck, give my supported ally +1/+1. So you can also do this through, like, support cards, right? So this card helps Bard level up by another 2. And of course, it plants a Chime on the top card of it. Okay, so this also plants a Chime on the top card of your deck. But you're forced to play this card if you want to play Bard, right? Like, this is so integral for Bard because it's an instant +1/+1 on support, and then it's an instant Chime on top of your deck +1/+1. So this is like increasing Bard by 4 for 10 Chimes for... Okay, maybe Bard's not as difficult. So you play the 1-drop, Bard gets a +2/+2. You play this, Bard becomes 6. But you have to play a lot of these early ones, right? Alright, let's see what other Chime cards there are. Card art for these is definitely very interesting. And then Mystic Vortex. When I'm summoned or when I count down, plant 3 chimes and random cards in your deck. Count down 2, draw 1. So this essentially puts 9 chimes into your deck, and then you draw 1 after 2 turns. But it's random cards in your deck. So this is where things get a lot more inconsistent. Now, if they just like put like 5 chimes in the top 3 cards of your deck randomly, you just like level your Bard. And then like you can maybe start doing powerful things. But the issue is, like, Bard really pops off when he levels, right? So let's say you play the cards, the 1-drop and the 2-drop that put chimes on top of your deck, and now those level up Bard because you draw into them, right? But then, now, you've played all of those, and then you no longer have cards that put chimes on top of your deck, and now they're just putting them randomly into your deck, like Bard, like Mystic Vortex. And then suddenly your consistency from there on out is just a lot lower, even though you have the power spike from Bard, right? So right now, this just seems very, very awkward. Because I don't know what other region you would want to play with Bard. This card, though, is at least very interesting. Proximity Puff Cap. Although you can't play this in a Bard deck, you'd have to run Bandle City because this doesn't plant boons or chimes in your deck. But this is cool. It's a 2-mana deal 3 for slow, assuming you draw a boon. Which you can like do if you play one of the cards that puts a boon on top of your deck. I mean, this also works with traps too. Like, this is a fantastic Teemo Caitlyn card. Just a 2-mana deal 3. Absolutely nuts. It's a little bit harder with traps, unless you're in the late game where it's a lot more consistent. But you can at least guarantee boons activating. Although, would you want to pair Bandle City with Bard is a slightly different question. And I think that's all of the Bard-related cards so far. Yeah, definitely very interesting, because it's this like conundrum where like it's this conundrum. Oh, there's a video. Alright, beautiful. Let's watch the video and maybe I change my mind just slightly.
Wherever here is.
So again, here's the Bard thing. 4 mana, 2/5. Attack, plant 3 chimes on random cards in your deck. Level up, you've increased the total stats of allies in play or hand by 20 plus. And then his Wandering Caretaker, you may put any cards that plant chimes into your deck during deck building. And then round start. Oh, right, I forgot the round start. I guess you get, if you put 3 Bards in your deck, round start, you put 3 chimes into your deck. I think you'd really have to play this deck a couple times to get a feel for how good this is. Because if you're putting 3 chimes into your deck at round start every round, then maybe you're actually doing something. I totally forgot about that. I'm also slightly less of a fan. Like, I think the whole like Runeterra champion concept is really sweet, but I'm a little bit less impressed by how narrow their sort of deck building has been. You can put any card or any unit that puts a skill on stack in your deck for Jhin, which is like fine. That was really cool. But now it's like you can put any card that plants chimes into your deck during deck building. Like, these are just so similar. There's so much space you could do. Like, put any spell into your deck that deals damage, or like put any card that slays, or, you know, like something. I feel like there's just a lot more interesting sort of ways to build. Or like some origin that's you may only put like cards that cost less than 3 into your deck. Although I think that'd be ridiculous because then you can put like all 10 regions. You need something restrictive, but like something like, it needs to be restrictive, but it also needs, or there's also just so much space to like put in like different deck building concepts besides just you can only put cards that plant chimes into your deck. That feels a little bit more lazy, but I think for now it's interesting. I just want to see what space they can explore later on. I mean, this boon chime thing is really pretty, the animations. So it buffs when you draw the boon, it buffs your card by +1/+1 in hands. Why is it drawing you a card?
Find your own own mischief.
And that wasn't very
Surrender
impressive.
to the melody.
Activate all boons on top 3 cards of your deck.
You should stay.
Did it not do anything? What happened there? Yeah. Oh, let's keyword. This is kind of crazy.
My fans will be here soon.
Alright.
Relax.
They still haven't showed anything that Bard like actually does. Like they haven't showed Bard popping off. Come on. Okay, yeah. Now of course you just draw 5 boons somehow. Like his animation's not that great either. Okay, like when I'm summoned, now you just double.
Always provides.
Oh, this is cute. You draw 3, it doubles a 6, and then Bard grants plus 6/6 to the board. Like, of course, this is Path of Champions, so you're able to generate like keywords, you know, onto your units a lot better. But right now, Bard cards don't have keywords. They're vanilla, except for maybe the elusive guy. It just seems very tough. I don't see this Chime packaging very powerful. You need a supplement Bard with some other cards that raise power levels. So like Sharpsight would buff it by like buff a unit by +3. So I think there's interesting room for Bard synergy, like cards like Sharpsight, cards like Sharpen Resolve, which is a +5. There's other buff cards within Bard. Maybe like Might, which is a +3, but it gives like a keyword. It's like Ambush is a +2, but it gives a keyword, right? Which I think is where the room for Bard really is. But outside of that, Bard looks quite underwhelming. It's hard to attack with a 2/5. When he's leveled up, his payoff is questionable at best. But his origin does maybe supplement some of the power level by putting 3 chimes into your deck at round start every round. That might save it, but outside of that, it's kind of underwhelming. Especially the actual like boon cards or the chime cards. They look kind of meh. And their payoff is like delayed. It's so tough. Because the only payoff is the 6-drop in leveled Bard right now. So that's just the initial thoughts. Bard looks kind of underwhelming. I don't know. I don't see how to build it. And it's definitely no Alawi support that I think some people were pointing at. Alawi right now just looks like a standalone champion that I guess can be flexibly paired because her package is sort of restricted to herself. But Bard, I'm at a loss of words. I don't know how to approach Bard at all. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what sort of things people come out with Bard, because I think right now I'm very lost. It doesn't feel that great to me. But that's going to wrap up the spoiler video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me guys know what you guys think about Bard as well down below in the comments. But I'll see you guys for the next one. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys later.